Rock and Roll Union Streamcast. Very kick-ass night for you guys. We are once again previewing our new show, Vinyl Siding, that'll be going live May 14th on Saturday mornings. But over the next month, we started last week with the top selling rock albums, the best selling rock albums of all time. We kicked that off with the Beatles' White Album last week. This week, we're going to be doing Led Zeppelin IV, the quintessential Led Zeppelin album. But before we do that, I just want to say a big shout out to our sponsor, Rosenfeld Dental Associates, located at 1095 Inman Avenue in Edison, New Jersey. Rock your smile with the Rock Doc, David Rosenfeld. His info is scrolling along the bottom there. You tell them that Rock and Roll Union or CT sent you, and you guys will receive a great discount as well as some amazing work. Guys, I just wanted to give you guys a little input of what 1971 was looking like. Disney World opened for the first time. The Vietnam War was still going on. 26th Amendment gets ratified, lowering the voting age to 18. Pentagon Papers revealed that the U.S. government had been lying to the American people regarding the Vietnam War. And NASDAQ makes its debut on Wall Street. This is the same year as Clockwork Orange, French Connection, Dirty Harry, Janis Joplin's Blasting Me and Bobby McGee, Rod Stewart's got Maggie May, and the Stones are doing Brown Sugar. Gas was 40 cents a gallon. Imagine that. Average income was $10,600 a year. New house only cost you $25,000. Movie ticket was $1.50. The Dodge Charger, a kick-ass car, brand new, was $3,500. And this was the year that Led Zeppelin dropped Led Zeppelin IV.
And Ethel Merman lost her virginity.
Oh, shit.
That's what I heard.
Never ends.
So,
Scotty Down, is that you? Hey, how you doing, Scott?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, guys, let me introduce you to our guests. They have a kick-ass evening coming up this Saturday night. I can't wait to be there. This is Martin Scott from Flying Circus, the elite South Jersey, dare I say, New Jersey in general, Led Zeppelin experience.
Woo!
And as always, with me is Bill Poig. He is my co-host on Vinyl Siding, and he is with us again tonight, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
I know, Bill.
Greetings, guys. Congrats on the gig at the Landis. I am jealous as hell that you guys are playing there, man.
And it's Friday the 8th. The tickets say
Friday.
Saturday,
I'm sorry, Friday the 8th.
Yeah, we had a little mix up with the ticket sales. It said Saturday because originally we were there this past Saturday. We were slated to be there, and Quiet Riot happened to be in the area, and Ray, the owner, it was his birthday, and Quiet Riot said, "Hey, we'll come down and we'll do a birthday show." So he asked
come on, Bill, my boys.
He asked us if we moved, and we graciously said yes, definitely. And I actually went to the show and got to meet Rudy Sarzo, so it was great.
Awesome.
Very, very cool.
Tickets,
You know Rudy Sarzo is 137 years old?
137, man.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
The tickets actually came out saying Saturday the 8th, and because they moved it, and forgot to change the date. So.
Wow. So, I mean, the tickets seem to be selling pretty well. You guys are doing well on this show, but there's plenty of tickets left. If you guys out there watching want to come check out the show, I've been to numerous Flying Circus shows. I'm excited because this is my first time seeing you guys on a stage of this size. Well, I mean, I saw you guys at the Queen. That was a decent stage as well. There seems to be a lot more that you guys can get away with as opposed to playing like a smaller venue or a bar or a club or something like that.
Yeah, let's just stretch it out a lot more. And
Scott gets to streak across stage. Awesome.
See, he's starting already. Stop it.
All right.
It's the annex go crazier as the venue gets bigger. I can't keep control of these guys. You know, it's like I'm the den mother. You know, see, here he goes.
So let me ask you guys. I know a few times when I've seen you guys play live, and this is a song that I want to get into later on as we're discussing Led Zeppelin IV. But I've seen you guys play abridged versions of Stairway. Does playing in the theater kind of give you the ability to like stretch that song for what it's worth?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're going to be doing the Tabernacle Boys Tabernacle Choir version this next time at the Landis, so it's going to be a great night.
See,
man.
Yeah, we actually have an extended version that we stole off. Scott, where did we get that from? Where's that version that we do?
That was actually we got that off of Song Remains the Same, the movie.
Nice.
So you know, and we extended it a bit. So you know, Mike,
it's 48 minutes now.
Right.
It's the longest fucking song ever.
It's now become a Grateful Dead show.
Yeah,
we started playing it last Thursday.
Yeah.
We're not done yet.
Man,
Yeah, that solo can be stretched a little bit.
Yeah, right. It's stretched all right.
Let me ask you guys, we're talking all about Zeppelin tonight, and we're going to be discussing Led Zeppelin IV. What got you guys into the tribute for Led Zeppelin? Was it something that you felt that you were geared to do, or was it like something that just kind of fell into place? What got Flying Circus started?
I had a pet monkey, and he told me in my sleep I should start a band, and I should get the other guy next to below you. Hey, it's kind of like the here's a story. The way the four of us are right now. All right, I digress. I was with I had another guitarist. Tony was in the band at the beginning of it, and we wanted to start something. And at first, it was going to be an Ozzy tribute, but I don't really want to do Ozzy too much. And I kind of had the mannerisms already with Robert Plant. I've been doing that for years, not really realizing the kind of thing. And I love Led Zeppelin. And I was getting out of another band at the time, Devious, and I needed something to keep me off the streets, during the day and night, between Monday and Friday. And I don't know. I just figured Led Zeppelin would be kind of cool, and I called him and I called the other guy, and sure enough, they said, yeah. So Donnie and Scott were in, more or less. I had to coax them a little bit to kind of go and do it, but it didn't take too much, but right out of the gate, though, like I don't want to. We are not Led Zeppelin, I don't want to. But you know how you just. I mean, we've been in this long enough. You just know it's going to work. First song we played was Four Sticks, and it. I just knew it was going to work. We all knew it was going to work. Scott,
it was funny when Mutt called me up. I said to him, he goes, "Hey, I got another project I'm starting," and it wasn't the Zeppelin thing; it was something else. And I said to him, "Was it
the Queen's Right?"
Okay, I said, "I thought you were calling me about the Zeppelin thing." And he goes, "Oh, why? Would you be interested in that?" I said, "Well, I just got the drum kit, so hell yeah, I'd be interested."
Hell yeah!
It's like that guy from Johnny Bravo from the Brady Bunch. He's got the costume. He fits good in the costume. I got the drum set, so let's do this. So it worked out.
Now, the one thing I got to say about you, Scott, is I know you were involved in so many different things at one time, and you kind of threw all your focus back into Flying Circus and kind of made that your main
Scott's not wanted. He's not allowed to go to Wisconsin anymore, so it's horrible.
Why?
I don't know what happened, but it's a legal thing.
I don't know. But anyway.
Is it more freeing that you're able to kind of throw yourself over more to the Flying Circus than when you were playing in multiple acts?
You know what? It's funny. I do a lot of the legwork for the band. I do the booking, and I had a couple bands at the time. And the other band I was booking, and I started because I have a day job, a 40-hour work week, plus on top of everything. And the funny thing was I was double booking the two bands, and it got to a point where I was losing my mind. I'm like, I can't do this. I said, I got to give up the one band. I don't have the time. So that's basically what happened. And you know, my love for Zeppelin, I've played, geez, I played this stuff since it seems like forever, you know. And
I was
I'm just
You know,
telling,
Scott, Donnie and I were hoping you would go join the other band.
yeah, see that?
I was telling Bill before we went on the air, and maybe this is something that we can start touching base on as far as Led Zeppelin IV. I said, you know, up until this week, I always listened to Led Zeppelin IV, but I never realized how much I absolutely love Bonham on Led Zeppelin IV. There are so many amazing things that he does in this music that I know it's got to be tricky. I know it's got to be tough. Is it wearing on you, Scott? Like, Bonham is amazing.
No, somebody told me years ago. They said, "Don't do a Zeppelin tribute; you'll hate it because you get so sick of playing this stuff." My whole motto is when people tell me, "Oh, you do a really good job," you know, I know who I am. I know who Bonham is. I'm not Bonham.
Right.
I tell everybody his shoes are so big they fit me like clown shoes. You know what I mean? It's the idea of every time I listen to them albums, no matter when I put them on, I'm like, oh damn, I'm screwing up that fill. I got to learn that fill exactly. You know, it's something new comes out every time, and there's a lot of guys that are out there that'll tell you the same thing. They'll tell you the same thing about Bonham. There's something new that you always hear every time you put that album on. You know, so it's always a room for improvement. So I love it. I still love it. 6 years in, and we're still going at it. I still love it.
You know, I'm going to do a round the screen thing before we get started with Led Zeppelin IV, but I'll start with you, Scott, since I was just we were just talking. Do you have a favorite track off of Led Zeppelin IV?
Oh, absolutely. Four Sticks.
Four Sticks. Yeah, it makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
For a drummer, I am not surprised.
Yeah.
How about you, Mutt?
I like to sing and shiny stuff. Four Sticks is also my favorite. Four Sticks is definitely, you know, everything about it. Just because I'm a drummer too. That's how I started. So it's just rocking. So yeah, that's probably my favorite track on that whole album.
Bill, favorite track?
Without a doubt, it's on the Levee Breaks. The vibe of that song, the groove, the drums are phenomenal.
I changed my mind. I'm going with Bill. Levee Breaks. I don't like that. Fucking drummer.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah, I got to say, and Mutt knows this because I remember going back, man, Mutt, this is going back a couple of years. I remember seeing you guys in Pittman. You were playing Bogies at the time. And you were asking the crowd, what's your favorite Zeppelin song? And I said, When the Levee Breaks. And you're like, it had to be. It has to be with this guy. But yeah, Levee Breaks. I mean, the drum parts with Bonham on that one again. The harmonica, the blistering harmonica that's on that song, I absolutely love.
Yeah, it's a less is more kind of motto there with that song, with the harmonica.
Yeah, because he almost passes out when he's playing.
Yeah. Holding that note, it's kind of fun. Yeah, you kind of wake up a little bit later. Hey, I'm still on stage.
He's waving to me as he's taking his last breath.
Anybody see my little dog?
So, Bill, I want to touch base with you a little bit as far as and you guys can feel free to chime in as far as the artwork to the album, the cover of the album. One of the very first albums to have absolutely no information on it on the outside cover. Can you give us a little bit of an idea of where this cover came from?
Well, the history around it is kind of interesting. Led Zeppelin had made their mark in the marketplace over the course of the last couple of years before the fourth album came out. I mean, Led Zeppelin II especially was a huge hit, but they were getting slogged in the press constantly. The American press particular would go after them saying, oh, they're a bunch of blues ripoff artists. Yeah, all these songs are Chicago blues standards that they've rewritten, stuff like that. And with the third album especially, the band tried to change that image a bit they did a lot more, folky type songs, things that had more light and shade associated with them. And it was a brilliant, diversified record. Led Zeppelin III was. And that one got slogged in the press too. And it actually sold fewer copies by far than the second album did. So Jimmy Page apparently just got pissed off and said, the press is going to slog us no matter what we do. So let's not put anything on the record. I mean, we won't put anything identifying the band on the record. We won't put the name of the band on or the name of the album on the spine. Nothing. We'll let the music speak for itself. The guys at Atlantic Records, the management, they were like, "You're out of your freaking mind. There's no way people are going to buy this record." And they ultimately they did a compromise where they got a transparent sticker that they put on the cellophane on the album artwork that said that it was Led Zeppelin, with the 4 symbols, and they gave the track listing. Of course, you took the cellophane off, and there's no sign at all of that being a Led Zeppelin album until you take the record out and you look at the label.
And you listen.
This was the birth of Zozo, and each of the band members choosing a different symbol representing themselves. And I know for there was some people that were calling it runes. Could you, any idea like where these symbols came from? And
actually,
who had
we created a symbol for Scott.
Here we go. Here we go. You ready?
Oh my God, Scott! How do you deal with this guy?
I don't know. 6 years.
Man,
6 years. This doesn't end. It goes
He's
all the time.
He's a drummer.
Go ahead. Tell him. The only symbol that I know about Bonham on that album is the 3 rings meant to him, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It was the Trinity. So I don't know. I heard that I think Plants was serenity and peace. I don't know what Zozo actually meant, but evidently,
feather, isn't it?
I heard something about Page picking up a black magic book, and there was, these symbols were in it, and he told each one of them to pick one. So I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've read that Page designed the Zozo symbol himself, based on various readings of him, Aleister Crowley's books. John Paul Jones apparently took one of those books and chose his symbol from that, and I just happen to have it here. I'm a bass guitarist, and I typically play in a prog band, so I usually play a Rickenbacker. Built this guitar back last summer after seeing the body on eBay, and I said to myself, that's screaming John Paul Jones all over it.
Yeah.
And I ended up buying the necessary parts to construct this from the ground up, including doing the headstock just right.
Cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. And I know, like, with the cover art, pretty much the guy carrying the sticks on his back kind of was like a throwback to nature. But once you unfold the record and the trifold, you can kind of see the building getting torn down and kind of like an urban slum behind it. What do you think this meant to the band? Why this?
That's a good question. I personally don't. I wouldn't know. Page had creative control over everything.
Yeah.
And
I saw something
what
on
squirrel
YouTube
was running
about
around
this.
his head?
I can't remember it.
Yeah, the theme on that I think started with the third album too, where they were trying with some of the songs to really get rustic, and on the other hand, with others to try and really make a statement about where things were in the current day, and make it as modern as possible. And to a certain degree, I guess they were trying to symbolize that on the cover of the fourth album too.
Oh, sorry, the bomb along.
I gotta go. Jesus Christ. I gotta go.
Air raid.
But
I'll be back.
funny, I live across the street from a firehouse. But
What? Oh, the follow? All right, hold on.
Here he goes again.
But starting off the album with Black Dog. Now, I know the song was written about a black Labrador that kind of hung around the recording studio, and that they got the inspiration from this song from Fleetwood Mac, kind of like a call and response type thing. Any thoughts on this song, guys? Like, does it get technical for you, Scott? And as far as the call and response, how comfortable are you with that song, and any feelings about that song in general?
One of the main songs that threw bottom for a week and a half, learning how to catch that hook, for me, for a while, that was, pretty tough to play. But as I started looking at tablature and reading the notes and trying to figure it out, it started coming easier. It progressed for me. And now it's like old hat. So, throw it on. Let's do it,
Now, the counting is something.
That Leo Sayer song?
Yeah.
What song are we talking about?
Oh, here he goes again.
Black Dog.
What song are we talking about?
We're talking about Black Dog.
No, okay, all right, I got you.
So,
it's better.
As far as the call and response in that, how does that sit with you? Are you comfortable with that, or is that a little bit different than everything else?
It's exactly the same, but completely different. It's true. It's kind of high, and there's a lot of delay in it, and trying to get my voice to do that delay that's in the song, that's a real bitch sometimes. Guys talk like this all the time. Hey, mom, said the way you move. You know what I mean? Confusing.
Yeah, it doesn't work on stage, but yeah.
The thing I always thought was cool about the song, and Scott, you hinted at it about the counting, is on the recording you can actually hear on a couple of the phrases where Bonham is clicking the sticks together to keep on the count before coming in with the flam or whatever, and it just is really something that always struck me, that here's one of the best drummers in the world. He's got to get the timing just right. He's got to pace himself that way.
Yeah, I think he's actually cluing in the other two guys on when to come in. I mean, because there's a lot of leeway there. I don't think he's actually counting when them spaces are there. I think he's just leaving it open and saying, okay, this is where I'm going to come in now. Let me click them.
Go.
And that's how we pull it off. At the end of the phrase, I just go click.
I don't have to do anything. I just sing.
Right in, So I think that's what Bonham did. I think he just took some it on his own and decided, okay, this is where I'm going to put it. So you guys just follow, because as well as the rest of us, when you go into a studio and you have something like that, you got to lay down something that the other guys are going to be able to follow, because the drum tracks laid down first.
Yep.
So, unless you throw breadcrumbs, everybody's going to be lost, So I think that's what he did. I think the stick click, because you hear it on the album, like you said, I think that cued the other guys in.
And as far as musicianship is concerned, there's something, I mean, even going back to classical music, there's something about that space, that blank sound where you just have Plant's voice that kind of makes everything resonate.
It just kills. The song just kills overall.
I think he sounds great doing it. I think I sound like shit doing it. It's kind of when the band's playing, it's like, yeah. But when you're by yourself, it's like you're Peter Brady. It's time to change. You've got to rearrange. Well, like, oh, balls. Here we go.
Now, when you're practicing, Mutt, do you do vocal warm-ups? Do you do anything that No. As far as being by yourself and like getting that stuff in, man,
Oh, I
there's
spend
got
a little time by myself, and then
you know.
no, Dio said it probably best. Well, I just don't warm up. I just kind of like I'll stretch, I'll bend over and like kind of stretch, but I mean, I don't know. It's I guess I'm quote singing correctly. I mean, I can go forever singing. I mean, I've never not been able to sing, so I don't do anything before we go on. I honestly, I think what I'll probably do for the Landis is I might do one of those guttural, real loud screams, one of them, probably for the Landis. Other than that, because they did that for the Queen, because you don't want to like do a Peter Brady. You don't want to,
Right,
have
right.
a little. So like a little shot of Jaeger. Don't try this at home, kids. I'm a professional, so but a little shot of Jaeger and maybe a scream I'll do for that. But other than that, no, I don't start over. I stretch. I show basically Scott my ass. I stretch kind of thing. And sorry about that, but you're back there, and well, I see you looking too, pervert.
So I mean, the one thing as far as like you're saying with the screaming and with like certain high pitches that Plant hit, is there anything that you feel pushes you to that limit?
They're pretty high. We are a half step down. It's not going to be it doesn't need to be a secret or anything like that, which definitely you would be surprised, but it helps. It helps. I'm like night flight. I'm right there on the cusp of like calling dogs, with that pitch, and I'm also at my where I don't sound like really, bad, I'm right there. There's some, but live, like at practice, I don't really push as much at practice. Live, you just have to do it,
Right.
So no matter what, this idiot inside takes over and he normally hits the notes, so
Any
seems to be all right.
Any times where you feel you hit a note and you yourself, maybe everybody else is telling you you did great, but you're like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. Going flat. When you hear stuff back, I don't really like when people post stuff. I don't really watch too much of us. I mean, I know what I look like, here I am. So, but yeah, sometimes you hear like, and I'm flat. It's like, it drives me crazy because how dare I,
Right. You're your own worst critic.
Yeah. Because you hear it inside, and like you screw it up. It's like, but there at the show, I was amazing. Yeah. People were dancing. Yeah. But man, when you hear it back, it was like, man, you suck. It was like horrible. It was like, oh.
Now going from Black Dog into rock and roll, there's a little thing of an intro there. Very quick. What did they make that sound with, Bill? Any ideas?
It's just the strings to pick over top of the over top.
Gotcha.
That type of thing. And Mike does it splendidly.
It's such a cool, like, little thing. It's a little thing, but I think Led Zeppelin's filled with those little things that you got to catch. Any thoughts?
Where's that confounded bridge?
Any thoughts on rock and roll? Like, where do we go from here, Bill, with rock and roll?
Well, you mentioned on Black Dog that there might have been some inspiration from the song "Oh Well" from Fleetwood Mac. There's outside inspiration on rock and roll too. I mean, rock and roll pretty much was taken from a jam in the studio that they did with Ian Stewart from the Rolling Stones around the old Little Richard song, "Keep It Knockin', But You Can't Come In." It's very much built in the same manner, and the song pretty much just took off from there. I would imagine that it was pretty much just written in the studio as all.
And we go
Scott
from
used to be full of useless information. Scott, do you know anything about this?
No. Actually, Bonham played an interesting part in that song. Throughout the whole song, he plays continuous eight notes on the snare drum and accents the actual hits. And live, I don't know, and I mean, it's a bitch to do. I try to keep it going every night that we play it, it's hard. It's a workout. Ask any drummer. It's a major workout. But live, Bonham, for some reason, omitted those 8 notes and just went for the single hits on 2 and 4. And that could have been a number of reasons: fatigue, playing it night after night after night, and hoping not to get tennis elbow. I don't know what his reasons were, but live he didn't play it the way it was played in the studio. So it's kind of tricky when you listen to it, because it sounds in the studio, it sounds like a freight train coming through your earphones, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then live he's just laying it straight out. There's no, 8 notes on there. It's just straight driving force. So I prefer the 8 notes, but I can't always pull them off. It depends how tired I am by the end of it.
We usually like to suggest he play it right after Moby Dick. Go ahead now.
Yeah.
Play rock and
They
roll.
love doing that to me all the time. Yeah, now we're playing, In My Time of Dying. And now we're playing rock and roll. And then right after that, we're going to do Moby Dick. And then we're going to do Four Sticks. It's like, why don't you just kill me now?
And then you're going to have a cardiac.
Yeah, right.
Oxygen.
And then around the block 6 times.
And I mean, going from rock and roll into what I think is the epitome of everything you've heard about Zeppelin, as far as the Aleister Crowley stuff, as far as the cult stuff with the Battle of Evermore, you kind of start seeing that folk kind of background. You start seeing a lot of that symbolism and a lot of the darkness of Led Zeppelin. What do you guys take away from this song?
I love this song. I had to learn it on the mandolin. It's such a great song, man. Phenomenal song.
He knows every part of this song. He sang it all, he played it all, and recorded it all by himself. Mutt, that is.
Yeah, I was pencil though at the time, so that makes a whole hell of a difference.
Yeah.
That's what I was told.
I mean, the impressive thing to me about this song, and you brought it up, was this was the first time that Jimmy Page had played the mandolin. He didn't know the instrument so well. It was his first time picking it up, and that kind of really impresses me. Bill, what any thoughts on this song?
Oh, there's so much that's going on in this song. I mean, the mandolin you mentioned. I mean, Page had done something similar, I guess, on the 3rd album too, with Gallows Pole. I think that was probably the first time he ever played the banjo. So this is sort of a repeat of that experience, borrowing the mandolin from Jones, who probably ordinarily would have played this. Obviously, the song is embellished by the female vocals. Sandy Denny from Fairport Convention is doing the female vocals with Plant, and it's just a wonderful harmony that's going on there between the two of them. They've meshed together brilliantly.
Yeah.
I often wondered if that was a leftover from Zeppelin III, actually. If that song was a leftover. It would have fit so much, it would have fit better, I feel, on 3 than it would have 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does.
I think you're right.
It does great on 4, but it sounds like it came from 3.
It really does. And it's interesting, too, because they ended up, as I'm sure you know, with 3 leftovers from the 4th album sessions as well. The 3 songs all ending up later on Physical Graffiti.
Yeah.
There was a lot of from doing research and knowing a little bit. I know that there was a lot of tracks. I want to go back after we're done reviewing the rest of the album and talk about some of the tracks that they took away from this one that ended up on Graffiti or further on down the line. But there was a lot of songs that they had in this recording session that ended up getting used elsewhere. And then we go into the iconic Stairway to Heaven. And I know that it was something that Plant had talked about for the longest time. If you look at some of the interviews and some of the stuff that he did, he talked about an acoustic building into an electric song. He dropped hints, but nobody really knew what it was. But it became kind of that rock legend. But growing up, when I grew up in the 80s, I remember when Led Zeppelin, when Stairway to Heaven was kind of cliche, and it was kind of like people didn't want to tell you they liked it just because it was so overplayed. Any thoughts on this one, Scott?
Yeah, they, Robert Plant has gone on record to not want to play the song live. I mean, it got so played out, I guess, for him. And Jimmy, because writing the song and all, and I'm sure Jimmy wanted it every night,
Yeah,
because it was such a major hit.
I know Jimmy went on to do covers of it when he kind of broke away and did his solo thing. I know he played it several times, just acoustic. I mean, not acoustically, but instrumentally, without Plant, without anybody.
Total solo, yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on Stairway, Mutt?
Wayne's World.
Denied.
Like you said, back in the 80s, MMR or YSP, one of them, when they get to the top, they played like 10,000 songs, and they got to number one. It was always Stairway every year. So it kind of, I don't know if it was overplayed or not, but it just kind of got like, yeah, we know it. You take it for granted. I guess it's one of those kind of things.
Right.
Like, yeah, but it really is a great song. I mean, it's got a great production. It's a great tune. The format's great. It's something that, for me singing it, man, I'm still not, you got to sing it. This one, I personally have to sing a lot to get it right. And we didn't do it for the first, 5 years, Scott?
Yeah.
Well, we just didn't do it.
Before we played it. I mean, it's like we talked about this before, Mutt and I. It's like every tribute band has that one song that you're like, oh God, do we have to do it tonight?
Yeah.
And it's that just happens to be it. Even though
we bailed on it. Whatever. I don't know if it was the last show. We bailed on it one just recently.
So yeah,
sometimes even the crowd. Sometimes you want to rock, sometimes, and usually Stairway's at the end of the night anyway. We put it there, and by the time you get to it, it's just like, let's not end on this. Even though the end's, bionic screaming and so on, and but still, it's more of a slower song. Let's get on my phone or make a pit stop kind of thing.
We've actually had
the one thing that I learned to appreciate as I got older is the musicianship in this song. Just blows me away. I mean, between Page's solo and Bonham, like the kick of the drum in this song does it for me. I think that's a main reason why I love this song, is just that driving drum once it picks up towards the second half of the song. What do you think, Bill?
I think you're making a great point there. The song, of course, has three major parts to it. The acoustic intro, the 12-string middle section where Bonzo comes in about halfway through, and then, of course, the Telecaster solo at the end. You have the famous solo that was done on the guitar that Jeff Beck gave to Jimmy back in 1968. It's a beautifully constructed song, but you're right. One of the things that really makes the song is when John Bonham comes in with that drum crash at about the 4-minute or so mark. It just takes the song to a completely different place.
And this was the song that ended side one on the original LP.
There's a bustle.
This was the end of side one, and then you get into I don't know if Plant was making fun of the hippies in Misty Mountain Hop. I know it felt like a tongue-in-cheek kind of poke at the hippies a little bit with this song. But to go from Stairway to Misty Mountain Hop is kind of like night and day. The switchover is kind of drastic. Any thoughts?
Well, The lyrics of Misty Mountain Hop, if I remember right, were inspired by a sit-in that took place in Hyde Park in London back around 68 or so, where they were demonstrating to get marijuana legalized. And of course, the cops weren't very happy about the kids lighting up in the park, and so the lines in the song about the police and telling them to get in line, and that apparently comes from that incident. But of course, you've got the references to the Lord of the Rings, the Misty Mountains, and so forth in there too.
Yeah, a lot of Tolkien runs through Zeppelin. That I've noticed.
Oh yeah. Between that song, Battle of Evermore has a fair amount of it too, and going back to the second album, Ramble On's full of it as well.
So, and then after this comes Scott's song, man, Four Sticks. And the song being called Four Sticks because it was said that Bonham played the song with 4 drumsticks. Is that something that you've tried, Scott? I mean, I'm going to go to the drummer on this one. Like, what's your takeaway from Four Sticks?
Plenty of sticks. When we tried it, plenty of sticks wound up in Mutt's hair. It's just that you're holding on to these sticks and they're vibrating between your hands and you're getting blisters because they're not tied together or anything. It's just when you hit the drums, they want to separate. You know what I mean? So it's hard to like lock in and hold on to them while you're playing with the 4 sticks. I have done it, but live, it's very, and I'm sure, in the studio, Bonham did that, but again, live, he didn't even bother because it would be such a.
How'd you hold him like that?
No, he held them together. Actually.
Oh. Yeah. Like
Yep. When you go and hit something, you'll feel those sticks go flying both different directions.
As far as playing that, Scott, now I can imagine the drum that there's a certain, the wrist, the sticks hitting together. There's a lot to consider as far as a drummer is concerned with 4 sticks. So many different variables, so many different things that playing with an extra set of sticks can do. How difficult would you say that song is?
Until I've seen a lot of guys do it. If you watch YouTube, you'll see a lot of guys attempting it. And again, I'm not Bonham. I don't know what he did in the studio exactly, but I think I'm coming pretty close to what he's done. And he dealt a lot with what they call triplets, and they're just 3 notes. And it's like, to me, it sounds like he's sharing off between the high tom, the floor tom, and the bass drum, and it's going back and forth. He's doing a check it, bappa, 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 between the bass drum and the toms. And it's like ticka ticka down, down, dappa, dappa, down, So it sounds really cool. And then in some parts he'll drag it, so it's like, it's really neat. It's a really cool song. And again, I wasn't in the studio, but my take on it, that's the way I feel he did it. And I've been getting away with it so far. So I'm not complaining. I like it.
Yeah. What's your takeaway, Bill, as far as 4 sticks is concerned to just the idea behind all this?
Well, it's a song that's very well constructed, as Scott is saying. And one of the things that is interesting about it, and keep me honest if you guys know differently, but I don't think Zeppelin played the song very often, if at all, live, because of the challenges that Bonham had playing with the 4 sticks, but also they had the challenge where there's a very prominent synthesizer solo in there that John Paul Jones wouldn't have been able to play same time as he was playing the bass back at the time.
Yeah, this is true. Scott?
And they did. They left out a lot of songs. They didn't play a lot of their songs because of that simple reason. They did a version of In the Light, but they didn't actually play In the Light. It's John Paul Jones. They didn't have the things we have today. Back then, you had what they called a Roland Space Echo, and it was a device that looked like a reel-to-reel tape player, and the tape would roll through, and when you would sing or whatever, it would echo. And more than likely, a lot of times, I mean, I've used one of these Roland Space Echoes back in the 80s, and then the tape would break constantly. So I can imagine they just didn't have what the equipment that's out today, where you can sample stuff and play it live to tracks. Otherwise, I think Zeppelin would have done a lot of their songs live that they, couldn't do back then.
Probably right.
Now, what I want to ask you guys that I don't know as much about, and maybe you guys can give me a little bit of an education here, and this is going into the next song. What was Led Zeppelin's infatuation with Hollywood, with Los Angeles, with California? They had a love for California. Even going into this is headway into going to California. I read a couple of different places this past week that California just meant a lot to Led Zeppelin. Any ideas why? Any feelings into that? And the song as well.
I could speculate.
The Riot House, Swordfish, all the
Avocados.
Stories I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just, the guys like the four lads from Liverpool, they wanted to come to the West so bad, because all their heroes were here,
Yeah.
It's only a guess. I mean, you'd have to be in their shoes to actually say. I'm just thinking that, you hear the streets are paved with gold over here. Growing up, you'd want to come over. So I'm just guessing at the time that they did that, it was the hippie movement, and I think that they, hey, look, we got to go out there. That's where it's happening,
It was also a lot different. We had really nice toilet paper here. And in the 70s, they didn't have very nice toilet paper over there. It's true.
Oh, man.
It's nicer here. I was over there in the 70s, and it was a hell of a lot different than it was here. It was a lot nicer here. And I don't mean like it just toilet paper. It was like they had little 4x4 wax pieces of it was ridiculous. So you're wiping your ass with this. It's like, this is insane. It's like a wax paper. Where's the hot dog that goes with this wax paper?
And then going into mine and Bill's favorite, the last track on the album, so much power, so much darkness. So there's a darkness, but a driving darkness into When the Levee Breaks. There's just we talked about the harmonica on that. We talked a little bit about that before, but there's just this pounding, and they recorded the drums differently on that one as well, didn't they?
Scott, was that in the chateau?
What's that?
Was that in the chateau recorded?
This was Headley Grange, I think.
Oh boy.
Got these freaking moths in my house. These little sons of bitches, and they dive bomb right in your face. They're like right here all the time, and you can't get them. They're always right out of reach too. They must take a course somehow. I don't know. Scott, you were saying about Levee Breaks?
No, I wasn't saying. You were. Anyway, Headley Grange. The favorite kid of Bonham's to play was in the studio, and he played it most often in the studio, was the Green Sparkle kid that you'll see on a lot of the like Earl's Court video. They put him in the hallway down at the bottom of the staircase, and they got the echo off of the actual stairway. So
Wow.
you could just imagine how big that place had to be, and where the drums had to be mic'd and all. There were so many other bands that followed suit and used Headley Grange as well.
CT and I were talking about that a little before we came on. Yeah. That room was absolutely huge. It was an old British workhouse back from the days of Charles Dickens. So it was a tremendous cavernous room, and the echo that was created in it was just astounding. I mean, it's been sampled to death by hip hoppers for years and years.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey,
Now,
Bill
I
said
mean,
Dickens. Sorry.
with the darkness of that song, once again thinking about how the occult always surrounded Zeppelin, the darkness, you could really feel it in that song, and it was just something that, you know, they say that heavy metal kind of goes back to Zeppelin. And songs like this is kind of where you can maybe see that. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
yeah.
Page had said that, they should thank him for bringing the occult into the band, because that's what made that album take off. And I think the band just, I think they were just taking Page's, oh, this guy's a nut, but he writes great music. And he was really serious about that stuff at the time. And that's what he had said about Zepp 4 was, the reason why it took off was because the occult, and, who knows, I mean, 4 guys get together like that and they write music like that. And it's like their mind was one. It's crazy how big they got in such a little bit of time.
Now, one thing I wanted to say, Bill, and I know you have some insight to this as well, is one of the things that kind of hit me, and I was kind of astounded by it, was when the original master tapes came back. Page was like, these are terrible. We got to redo almost everything except for When the Levee Breaks. They like remastered the entire album another time. Yep. Am I right on that, Bill?
Absolutely right on that. They did a full remastering job. Apparently, the speakers at Headley Grange that we used when they did the first recordings of it were bright, and they discovered when the mastering job that as a result, the bass was really overpowering. So they went back and they redid the job again at Sunset Sound in LA in order to get it right. Yep.
Did they have the Rolling Stones mobile? Is that what they took there?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Right? Is that what they used? Did they transport like the equipment in the van into the house, into the chateau?
Yep. That's exactly what they did.
Wow.
Yep. That's how Ian Stewart from the Stones got involved in it too, because he was supervising the use of the truck. The truck was his baby.
Oh. I ain't going nowhere without my truck.
So, I mean, Bill, one thing that you know more about, and I know Scott and you probably know a lot more than I do, as far as some of the tracks that were left off this album. Bill, could you give us a little bit of info on that?
Well, there are 3 tracks that were left off. Mutt mentioned one of them before, Night Flight, which is a great track that probably for other bands would have been one of the lead songs on the album, but was actually left off. Down by the Seaside and Boogie with Stu are the other 2. Boogie with Stu is like Rock and Roll, a jam with Ian Stewart from the Stones.
Great song still.
Yeah.
And they all ended, not all of them ended up on Physical Graffiti, right? Or
all of them did. All 3.
They all did. Gotcha. And another thing that I read while I was doing research for this show was the hedonism and the craziness that Zeppelin was involved with as far as touring on the album for Led Zeppelin IV, and some of the fights and some of the crazy stuff that surrounded them. And it was almost like Led Zeppelin was the first kind of chaotic band on the road like that. Do you guys know those stories? Do you know like anything that stands out to you guys from any stories that you may have heard?
Isn't there a fish story?
Well, the fish story is from Seattle.
Is it?
Yeah, that's from I think their second tour in 1969. Yeah, where they were fishing off the side of the hotel in Seattle. There's a place out there called the Edgewater Inn. I've actually stayed there back in the day.
Cool.
But California really was the centerpiece of a lot of the hedonism stories also. I mean, we didn't really talk about this when we discussed going to California, but there's kind of two angles to that song. One is, both Page and Plant loved the music of Joni Mitchell, and so they were paying homage to her. But they also had girlfriends, I mean, Page especially, had a running relationship for a couple of years with Pamela DeBar later. And so, a lot of
when you say hedonism, does that mean he can start fires with his mind?
No,
that's what I heard.
Yeah.
All right.
Ignore him.
I might be wrong.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bill.
Next.
Next.
But
I was just going to say, I mean, there was definitely a lot of legend that went on around Led Zeppelin, and California was at the heart of a lot of it. Their favorite hotel was the Continental Hyatt House in LA, which of course got called the Riot House by a lot of people around the band.
And I know it wasn't shortly removed from Led Zeppelin IV that well, was it Robert Plant or Jimmy Page? I can't remember which one had their child pass away like shortly after the album.
Robert Plant was.
Yeah. Sad stuff, man.
Yeah, Carrot.
Yeah.
And
I know Bonham, the one time that I read somewhere that he was playing pool and the table wasn't level and he busted it up with his bare hands. So
Jeez.
It's stuff like that becomes legend,
And I mean, it's the band was only together for maybe a decade. Am I right? It was 10 years that they were together.
About 11 and a half years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And towards the end of that, I know Robert Plant was in a wheelchair. He was, he did at least some recording sitting in that chair. The band went through a lot after this.
Yeah, the wheelchair was a little bit later. That was in, I guess, late '74, when Plant and his wife were involved in a rather serious car accident, I think in Greece. And Plant was in the wheelchair for a good portion of 1974. They recorded Presence while he was in the wheelchair.
And one thing I'm going to ask Mutt and Scott, what do you think it is about Led Zeppelin's music that still resonates with people even today? Even young kids that are out there, teenagers, still get into Zeppelin. What is it about that music that resonates?
Good's good. I mean, it's
that's it. Huh?
It's straightforward. I mean, there's nothing wrong with rap. It's just it's so much freaking different. And when you in the 80s, these guys were playing guitars. It was freaking great. In the 70s, those guys were playing guitar even better than the guys in the 80s. And then the 80s guys got better at the end. It was like Zeppelin. It's timeless. With the songs that are quote heavy metal kind of inspired ones to the acoustic ones to the production ones. The Rain song is like a freaking production and a half. I mean, it took us a while to get that one down, and it is because of the production level to it, and not every song of Zeppelin is like, but there's ones that just stand out that are epic recording. For example, Flying Circus from the Madison Square Garden. That's where we got the name from. The Madison Square Garden bootleg recording. It's just there's so much on there. The verse, being that versatile, that's what I think makes him stand out for this long and probably forever.
Yeah, I think it's basically Zeppelin. I think just crosses a lot of genres of music. I mean, you got everything from hot dog to blues to bluegrass. You got heavy metal in there. You got everything. It's all mixed in, and I think that's what makes them like legends today.
It's all mixed up.
Now, bringing up, going back to Flying Circus, where can people find your upcoming dates? Are there any social media pages?
We don't deliver them anywhere. We don't let anybody know.
We actually have
Very personal.
FlyingCircusZep.com is our website. Facebook.com/FlyingCircusZep.com is our Facebook page. And we're also on Twitter and what's that other one?
Instagram?
Instagram, yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that one
Yeah.
myself.
I barely use it because I try to post as many ads wherever I can get them on, you know. Instagram kind of falls short for me. So
now, as far as getting tickets for the Landis Friday night, how do people go about doing that?
LandisTheater.com. Or there is many ads out there. I've put a ton of them out there, and you'll see the link. If you go to my page, you can go right down there, and you'll see the link, and just click on the link. It'll take you right to the tickets.
Man, so. And I do know, but you don't want to wait till the last minute. There are tickets available at the door Friday night, but don't wait till then, guys. Make sure you go out, get your tickets, support live art while it's here. I got to say, guys, the numerous times that I've seen you guys, it's been amazing to me to watch you guys grow, because I've seen you guys from years ago to now, and the growth is amazing. Just between the show and the music that you guys put on is just, to me, phenomenal.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. It's been a long road, and none of the guys so far, and thank God, none of the guys have like a big head. We're all pretty much grounded. We just love playing the music and love that people like it, that what we're doing. So, it's been a hell of a ride. I mean, we're having a great time.
Man. So, any last words for these guys, Bill?
Nah, it's a great show. Great input from both of you. Definitely have a great show on Friday night.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
And I just wanted to say also that the Landis Theater, besides us playing Friday night, there's other great bands going to be there. They've got Kicks coming in. They've got Vixen, Striper. I mean, they've got a whole slew of great acts coming in there. It's a great concert venue to see plenty of bands. Check it out. LandisTheater.com.
And you just announced, said Scott earlier that Quiet Riot was there over this past weekend, and I heard that was a great show.
Oh, it was great. It was awesome.
Awesome place, man. I love the Landis. I love them for what they've been doing for the area as far as tribute acts are concerned. As far as my wife and I went for our anniversary last year to the Evil Dead musical. That was even cool. That was real cool. And the Landis is an awesome place, man. I can't wait for Friday night to see you guys light that stage up.
Oh, we're going to have a great time there. It's going to be off the hook, man. It's going to be really good.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging with us tonight and going over some great music, and really looking forward to seeing you guys Friday night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. Have a great rest of your week.
You too.
So, Bill, man, great band, really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing them on Friday night, man. It's going to be a great time. Like I said, for what they've been doing, for what the Landis Theater has been doing for the local area has been phenomenal. They've had some amazing acts come in, even some of the tribute acts. They had, I'm trying to think, Ray Tabano, one of the early guitar players for Aerosmith, came through. Mm-hmm. They think up some different things that maybe not a lot of other places do.
They do, and Kathy Wagner, who books the acts there, does a great job of balancing national acts with local acts as well.
Yeah.
I last time I went there was a few weeks back. They actually had a prog rock double bill of two bands from New Jersey. One is Keith Turner's band Tarkus, which is an Emerson, Lake and Palmer tribute, and the other rail is a Peter Gabriel era Genesis tribute. And I know that band very well because the keyboard player with that band, Michael Labuono, also plays with Legion of Prague. So,
Gotcha.
so that was a fun night all the way around. Great music by two really great bands. I mean, and the Landis put that up. I mean, Prague is a venue where the people who are out there who love it really love it, and they'll come out for it. But it's become, I think, something of a niche marketplace. The fact that they were willing to invest an entire evening of entertainment in two Prague acts speaks volumes for the Landis and the way that they're willing to provide support to the local music community. It's really terrific.
I agree with that 100%. And this isn't a, how do I say this so that it comes across the right way? This isn't a era where rock is the biggest selling thing, and it's really difficult for a lot of these bands. But the Landis has opened their arms, opened their doors, and have given these bands a place to play. They have really given them amazing art, amazing light shows, amazing sound production. Everything they do is top notch, and they make every band feel like they're a major headliner.
It's a terrific venue in a whole bunch of ways. Really fun place to see it go.
So, with that, man, we're wrapping this up. Looking forward to next week where we're talking Back in Black.
That'll be a good one,
man. And we have a band joining us called A Whole Lot of AC/DC, and a good friend of mine as well, Mark McCarty, the guitar player for Rat Rod, who is hardcore. He if you haven't heard Rat Rod, which was Rock and Roll Union's very first artist of the year 2018, they are almost carbon copy Bon Scott era AC/DC rock and roll. And Mark lays a lot of that music down. He plays the Gretsch. He's just a really good guy overall. So looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I've seen videos of them. I've not had the opportunity to see Rat Rod live yet, but what you say about the vocals and about the rhythm guitar is right on the money. I mean, they're nailing, the Bon Scott era sound, the Gretsch sound, that Malcolm got on the rhythm guitar is all through their music. It's really a great experience.
And one thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up, Bill, any Legion of Prague shows coming up? Anything where people can come out and check you guys out?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. There are a couple coming up in the next couple of weeks. We have a show a week from this coming Friday on the 15th at Broken Goblet Brewing in Bensalem.
Great place.
And the following night on the 16th, Saturday, we are down at the Halftime Sports Bar and Music Venue down in Newark, Delaware.
Another awesome place. Mark is another one of them guys, man. Another one of those music guys keeping that stuff going, man. And both great places to see a show. Broken Goblet, what's really cool about that place is the stage was David Bowie's old stage, and they kind of brought that into that venue, and I really appreciate that. I think that's awesome.
It's a great stage to play on too. I think I mentioned to you before we started this show when we did a spot on the broadcast to discuss Legion of Prague. I think we mentioned this. First gig that Legion ever played a little over 2 years ago was at Broken Goblet.
Wow.
Because our drummer, Doug, had played with another band that had come through there. And so he had a good relationship with Jim Thorpe from DVT Entertainment, who did the booking for us. And I remember thinking, it's our first gig. I'm all sorts of keyed up. I don't know what to tell you how much caffeine I had in my system. And I walk into the back entrance of Broken Goblet, for where we were able to get good parking to do load in. And I'm walking in, and I've got my amp in one hand and my bass guitar in the other. And I walk in, and I looked at that stage. I said, "Holy crap, we're playing here!"
Yeah, yeah.
But it was a wonderful night. I mean, the place was absolutely mobbed. I mean, on Saturday night at the Goblet is hopping. I mean, we had easily between 150 and 200 people in that venue.
Wow.
And it was just a great night.
It's funny because the last time I was there, I saw Flying Circus over there. So, yeah, a great place for a show. And we enjoyed sitting upstairs a little bit from the balcony view. I've always been a balcony kind of guy. I love watching downward at the band, not missing anything. So really looking forward to that, Bill. I plan on coming out to that show. See you guys rock it, man. I'm so glad that. And how do people go about finding out anything upcoming for you?
We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Legion of Frog, all one word. And if you type in legionofprog.com as a URL, that will take you to the Facebook page as well. We also have a YouTube presence. We have quite a few videos of us playing live, as well as more professional videos that are MTV style, with slideshow type stuff going on. There's a lot of material on both Facebook and on YouTube on us that people can check out, to try before they buy. But I think anybody who checks this out, I mean, not to pat myself in the back, but I think people will like what they see. I mean, we do our best to play the music faithfully, and I think for the most part we do.
Awesome, man. Really, really excited to check you guys out. It's such a really cool spot. And once again, halftime's a cool spot too for everybody in that area as well. But guys,
Mark's a cool guy. Mark used to do this himself, so
yeah,
he knows what it is to be a musician in this marketplace.
That's right. And guys, I just want to ask you a favor, and that is, if you enjoy seeing what you see here, like the page, leave comments. If you want to leave a comment on any album that you would like to see me and Bill review, leave that down in the comments as well. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to be going live with this. May 14th will be our first episode. We got a really great show lined up for that. But we'll be back next week with, like I said, we'll be doing Back in Black, that very first Brian Johnson album, and a game changer for AC/DC. So, Bill, thank you so much for being with me again.
My pleasure, CT. We'll look forward to it next week, and if you can get to the shows, next week as well, look forward to seeing you there.
Sounds great, man. And like I said, like we said all night, make sure you guys check out Flying Circus at the Landis Theater this Friday night. And until next time, guys, don't just leave it better. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Take good care, guys.